Hi, this is Karen. I'm with inspiredbygraham.com. Welcome to my channel. So today I thought I would bring you a card that uses the Forever Fern stamp set along with the Forever Flourishing dies. Now this is a bundle in the 2020 annual Stampin' Up! Catalog. And when you purchase it, you can save 10% by purchasing the bundle. But during the month of June, you can actually get this bundle for free by joining Stampin' Up! So if you head over to my website, inspiredbygraham.com, this is one of the dies of many dies that you can receive for free by joining. Okay, so let's talk about the card here. It uses a lot of different elements, 2 different types of dies. We've got the Stitch So Sweetly here, and we also are using the Forever Flourishing dies. I'm using some designer series paper, which we'll talk about. I've got Pretty Peacock. I've got this sweet little double bow here that I'm going to show you how I create this bow. I didn't hand tie this. I used a little device. I'm going to change this up here, so we're going to do 4th generation stamping. This, instead of Pear Pizzazz, will be Garden Green. The inside is just stamped simply with a beautiful Forever Fern stamp set, very distinctive stamp set. And this is how I actually stamp the back of my cards now. I use the one of the leaves, it's the same one, along with my information here. So let's get started creating the card. Again, we're going to be using the Forever Flourishing dies. There's 14 dies in this set. Again, it's a bundle with Forever Fern. I paired it up with Stitched So Sweetly. These dies are a must-have. If you don't already have them or own them, you should, because you can use these for card making, scrapbooking, craft fair projects, you name it. These are my go-to dies now. Now, if you want to see these, I've actually created templates. And I know it's really hard to see on camera because I really can't fit the whole thing here. But this gives you an idea of the die set here, the Forever Flourishing. And there's also 10 dies in the Stitch So Sweetly. So this kind of gives you a better idea of what these dies actually look like. So now the designer series paper we're using is one of my favorites because my favorite color is green. So this has so many different shades of green in it, okay? There's 6 different shades of green. So just beautiful nature cards. Okay, so we're gonna get started. Very simple card, like I had said. These 2 are the Stitch So Sweetly dies. This is in Garden Green, and this is Whisper White. And the designer series paper is cut 2 by 5.5, and I paired it up with some Whisper White that is 2 1/4 by 5.5. So we are going to just use our adhesive Tombow glue, and we're just gonna add it. This is a new bottle, so pardon all this glue. I usually don't use this much, but when you open up a new bottle, it just kind of just comes out really quick. You don't have to shake it or anything, so it's a little unexpected. So now I'm just layering this on some Whisper White. Again, this is cut 2 1/4 by 5.5. You could scale it down and do 2 1/8 by 5.5. That would work as well. And with a multi-purpose glue, it just gives you enough time to be able to move it if you don't get it on there correctly, like I didn't get it on there. Okay, so that's done. Now this pattern is directional, so make sure when you're adhering it onto anything that you're adhering it to the correct way. So my card base is Pretty Peacock. It's cut 5.5 by 8.5, and I've already pre-scored it at a 4 1/4 there. So I'm just adding my Tombow glue to the back side of that panel, and I'm going to layer it on about 1/4 inch from the left side. Very, very simple card. Now, if you find that your layer goes over the bottom or the edge of your cardstock, you can take your paper snips, and I'll show you, because this kind of bothers me when I cut my paper just a little bit too long. I can see that white. So I just simply take my paper snips and it just snipped off that little bit. And it looks like this side is a little bit too long as well. So I'm just gonna simply take this. It only takes about 10 seconds to do that. And we've got a better looking card there. Okay, so now when I created the sample card, ahead of time, I punched or die cut a bunch of images in all those different shades of green. Now I've used some of them, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick out 2 that I think will work with this shade, Pretty Peacock. So I'm going to go with the Pear Pizzazz. Okay, that's going to look pretty good. And let me just look at that one. Actually, I want this big one here, this Fern. And I don't want it too close to what's there, just because it won't pop. So I think I'm just gonna go with Shaded Spruce. Okay, that pops. And this is the Pear Pizzazz. Okay, so now I layered these. Actually, I went this way, but I think I like the Pear Pizzazz over the Pretty Peacock. So whatever you choose will work, whatever your style is. So I'm just going to tap on this glue here. Of course, this bottle is so fresh and new, it's just like flowing out. And I'm just going to layer this over on top of the Pretty Peacock. Now, if you find that this doesn't stick right away, you can just take a Stampin' Up block, one of your blocks, and just lay it down there for a second. It just needs a little bit of time. It's a humid day here today, so it just needs a little extra time to the glue to set. So I'm just kind of doing little dabs to the back of the cardstock. Again, this is Shaded Spruce. And I'm just gonna layer this right over. Again, you can use the block to give it a nice press, and this way you don't get the glue all over your fingers either. All right, so that while that's drying, we're going to stamp this die, and I've got to grab a piece of scrap paper here. So let me do that. And sorry, it's white on white, but I'm going to show you how I test my inks. And when I want to do like a 2-step or a 3-step stamping, and I don't really know my coloring, how dark it's going to be, especially on the distinctive stamps, I'll stamp 3 times. And now and then I'll take my sentiment and I'll stamp over it. And we know that's not going to work because it's all washed out, looks the same. It's getting a little bit lighter there. And then there's this one too. So I kind of like the 3rd generation, but I still think it might be a little bit too dark. So I'm going to actually go 4th generation. So I'm just going to flip this over. And I'm going to ink that stamp set back up because we want it all inked up. And I'm going to stamp 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And now I'm going to pull in that die. And I'm just going to stamp right over it. And it's a lighter shade of Pretty Peacock ink. Now I'm going to take the Hello, and I'm going to, we don't need this scrap paper anymore. I'm just going to stamp right over that. Hold it for a second, especially on the humid day, and release. And now the words pop really nicely. So let me just bring in that sample card. So we're gonna see what that looks like. It might still look too busy, but I thought I would give it a try just to see if I can jazz that up, and we can decide at the end which card is better. Or maybe they both work, I'm not sure. All right, so actually I do need another piece of scrap paper. And we want to stamp the inside panel and the envelope. So I've got a piece of Whisper White, and this is 4 by 5 1/4, and I also have a medium Whisper White envelope. I always like to take the image that I'm using on the front of the card into the inside panel and also my envelope too. So to do that, I'm just going to stamp over here. And since I love this stamp and this image so much, I'm going to stamp it again right up the side here and one more time. Very, very nice. Okay, so now the envelope, I'm going to stamp in the corner here. And I think I'm going to do that again. I'm going to stamp over here and then maybe just a little bit up here. So you still have enough room for your return address if you're mailing it, and to write somebody's address as well. So isn't that just beautiful? If you really want to get crazy, you can also stamp the flap. So let's do that because we just love this stamp. It's beautiful. So I'm just going to basically fill it in. And that is just so, so pretty. All right, wouldn't you like to get something like this in the mail? Just the envelope alone is beautiful. Okay, so now all we need to do is assemble the card. Okay, so we have our card here. This is our inside base. I'm going to take my glue. Let's open this up. And I'm just going to glue the back side. And we're looking for a 1/4 inch border on all 4 sides, which we have. And just give it a nice press. Always make sure your ink is dry before you do this step because you don't want to smudge. Now the back side, I didn't show you this, I don't think I did anyway, but this is how I'm stamping my back sides now. I've got the imagery here and I've got my business information here as well. So basically this is tone on tone. So we'll just ink up that stamp set one more time, full strength. And now I'm going to take my personalized stamp, which I ordered actually from rubberstamps.com. And then since I sell my cards, I always add the Stampin' Up! Logo to abide by the angel policy. Okay, so now we need to attach our stamped label die to the Garden Green die. That looks really pretty. You could also do this with shaded spruce as well. That would look really nice, but I wanted to make sure we used a lot of the greens in this card. I need my Stampin' Dimensional, so let me grab some of those. Got a brand, no, oh, those are my minis. Hold on, we don't want to use minis if we don't have to. And I've got some right here. Okay. So these are just the regular size dimensionals. I'm going to add 4 to the back side. And on this die, I like to just put them kind of like right there. That way the center doesn't buckle. And then to release them, we're just going to press in the middle and then just simply peel them off. You can also use your take your pick tool to remove them as well. So now I want to cover up this little stemmy thing here, and I want to center this die right down the middle there. Okay. All right, that looks pretty good. So now we're going to, this is how I make my bows. I bought this, it's 10-second bow maker. I'm not like, this is no advertising, this is how I make my bows. So I've had this thing in my craft room forever. So I'm going to take about 12 inches of linen thread. I'm going to double it up. I've got my ribbon scissors here. I'm just going to cut this off and then cut it again. So I've got 2 strands of the linen thread, and I'm just going to wrap it around the back side. The right side crosses over the left comes around, and I'm grabbing that and pinching it so I can hold it. And now I'm just going to simply tie a knot and then just tie it tight there, and then it just slides right off here, and I've got a perfect bow. Okay, I can't tie bows, so that's how I do it. All right, so now I need some glue dots. This is a card that you can really master if you're looking to make like wedding invitations or like a craft fair project. This design here, this card design, is transferable to a lot of different projects. Okay, so there we go. And I think these tails are a little too long for the card. So to get them about the same length, I just grab all 4 strands. I'm just going to take about a ½ inch off, and that looks a lot better. All right, so here's the card we just made along with the matching envelope, which I'll have for both. And then here's the card that, oh, I did forget this piece here, but I think if we added it, I think it would be way too busy. So this is a different way that you can kind of dress up a card, either by stamping or adding another die cut piece. Okay, so here's the cards. Now let me show you my June card club. I've got 3 other designs that I made with this set that I'm offering on the deadline to order. My card club is always the 20th of the month. So I have this advertised out on my website, inspiredbygraham.com, and you receive 8 cards and you get 2 designs of each card. So you'll have 2 of these, a kit for 2 of these, and instructions, PDF, a video, and I include a color printout for you as well, so you don't have to print it out. Some people love to be able to have the instructions right on your desk, and that's something like I like to do, so I want to make sure that my customer also has those right there in their hands. So these are the 4 different cards that we're making in club for the month of June. Okay, let me just show you this one. This is actually one of my favorites here. I've used the Stitch So Sweetly die and the Designer Series paper there. And here's the inside. And then this one I didn't stamp because I decided at the last second I was going to do that 2 stamping. This is the Greenery embossing folder, which comes in my card club for the month of June. You'll have the embossing folder. Also, you'll have a 1/3 of a package of the dimensionals. And a spool of the linen thread, but it's all the information is on my website, step-by-step instructions, of course, and a video as well. So for any of this product, all the products in this class and in my card that we made today, this one here, or no, actually this one here, you can find at my website, inspiredbygraham.com. Thanks for watching and have a great day.